Missing a train is only painful if you run after it. Likewise, not matching the idea of success others expect from you is only painful if that's what you are seeking. That's from the book Black Swan. Translation for all of that is you're only hurt by what you're chasing. And if you're chasing what other people expect from you or other people's idea of success, you're staying hurt by another person's definition of what your life is supposed to look like. And if you're chasing the train as a man, you need to get some shame. So you're doing all the things that you think you should be doing. You're watching yourself live instead of actually living it. And it's not failure. That's not the word. It's not failure. It's just what it feels like when you have been shrinking for too long. No breakdown, no meltdown, just that weird space and feeling where something's off and you can't really explain it. That's what it means to play small. And you're also in that in between period where, like, you're still trying to figure out that feeling. And the older people around you that keep telling you, oh, so now you know what it feels like. Almost like they want to see you shrink as well. So they can prove that their decisions were right. And I mean, now I find it funny when they just say that shit because I'm like, I can tell it's just projection of their fears and maybe a little bit of regrets as well what they chose. Not because they're failed, but like just because the idea of what could have been stays with them. So they have to convince themselves that they made the right decision to shrink a little bit to survive. And if that's what survival looks like for them, cool. But I don't think anybody has a fucking right to tell you what survival or what living life should look like for you. So it gets to the point where they came to the crossroads as well. And they had to make a trade. So now you have to make a trade. You go with what makes sense. You pick the realistic path. You start building the version of your life that feels safe. And it works. You stop getting weird looks and weird questions. People clap for you and tell you you're doing well. You look put together. You look like the proper person. You look like someone that people are supposed to look up to. But at some points, even you stop recognizing yourself. And one of the most confusing parts of this time or this period of your twenties is figuring out like what's actually gratitude and what's just fear in disguise. Like, are you staying at your job because it's good for you, or are you too scared to start over? Are you calling it patience, or are you just hoping life sorts itself out so you don't have to choose? It's hard to know. But if something in you constantly feels off, it probably is. Hoping and waiting that life sorts itself out for you so you don't have to choose the path and force your way through life, which you have to do sometimes. It's dangerous because you start to believe that this is what life wants for me. And if you're religious and you're Nigerian, then you also know that they have a way of convincing you that even if you get stabbed, God said you should get stabbed, and it's the best thing for you to get stabbed. You know, like it's a very sick way of looking at things. So when options are eliminated for you because of a lack of action on your side, you start to believe that this is what life is meant to give you, rather than you forcing your way through the door sometimes. And sometimes you have to walk away when life tells you to walk away. But there are other times where the uncomfortable path that seems like hell, even though you know you want this path, is the only path for you to take. And the convenient path on the other side is a trap. That's the trap of playing small. And that's when you have to start building up little fences and these buzzwords to make yourself feel okay with decisions that you made. I use Bernard Arnault as an example a lot because not only did he build an empire, but he built it from nothing. The thing that no one told us was you don't need to be loud to build something massive. Bernard Arnault, richest man in the world, back then you're just a quiet guy. He bought a company no one cared about. When he bought it, they even told him it was a dumb move, or this dumb decision to buy this. So they had no applause when he was making his moves early on and quietly. He had no applause, no claps, no supports. But he noticed one thing that others could not see. And he noticed Dior in the company he decided to buy. Everyone else saw a dying brand. He saw potential. He saw what he could do with this. And that's the unique advantage. But if only you can see it, that's what makes it unique. If every other person around you sees the same thing, then you have a million people going through the same route to get to the destination. Now, if it's just you may sound stupid, you may sound dumb, you may sound like you're taking a huge risk and you're about to fuck up your whole life. But on the other side, if it does work, if it hits a huge lick. He did not ask for permission. He just moved because he believed in what he saw. And now he owns a full on fucking empire in LVMH. Think about most of the top fashion brands in the world. Like, this is the guy behind it. He did not need a million people clapping for him for every step and every decision. He didn't have a million people on his board to tell him that he's making the right decision. He didn't flinch when they told him it was dumb. He just moved. He did what he wanted to do. No excuses. So now, I don't think it's a thing of like losing your ambition or like your hope. I think people get tired of waiting for the right moment to admit what they know about themselves. So you deny the truth about yourself. You may tell yourself that you're not that ambitious. You may tell yourself that you don't have what it takes because you're afraid to admit the truth at the moment you're supposed to say it because you don't want to sound stupid in front of a bunch of people. I don't think people lose their ambition. I don't think that's what it is. I think people get tired of waiting for the right moment to admit it. So you don't want to be the person in the room that's talking all that talk because you feel like it puts a spotlight on you. So you kind of shrink yourself even at that. You act meek and little because like you don't want to stand out. You want to blend in. So you keep waiting for the right moment to finally say, "Hey, listen, man. Like I don't give a fuck about what people are talking about. All this steady crap. Like I know the long term vision for my life is something insane." But like for some reason, some people have some sorts of shame in saying it out loud because they're afraid of failing, and other people to be like, "Oh, that guy failed at this," or like, "Bro, like the greatest failure is not trying." That's always the greatest failure. The greatest failure is living through this life for 90, 80, 90 years, and you know for 18, 90 years the dream you had died at 20. You just lived through 60 years of your life not chasing the one thing or the three, four, five, six, seven things you wanted for the longest time. Because one, it was tough to get it, but two, people told you to take the safe way to survive. I keep this in my mind that like you really could in the UK, you really could work for 60 fucking years and within 5 years of retirement, you have to downsize your whole life just to survive the next 20. That's insane. So what was the whole point of the 60 years of working for? Like I just wasted 60 years of my life. That's crazy. That's a crazy way to live. There's a version of yourself that you've been holding back for years. Not because it's wrong, but because you don't want to sound stupid or arrogant or unrealistic. But you still think about it, which means it's still alive. It's still within you. And it's just waiting on you to create it, to believe in it, and to push it without giving a fuck what anyone else thinks, including family or friends. Like, you're just gonna have to take a step and be brave. So playing small doesn't feel like failure. It just feels like being average, man. It feels like steadiness. And I don't mean average like average life. I just mean average like in terms of your potential, what you're really capable of doing, or what you feel like you should be doing. And nobody tells you this, but playing it safe chips away at you slowly. You don't even realize it's happening. You just stop sharing certain ideas. You stop asking certain questions. You shrink in tiny ways, hoping life will still somehow get bigger for you. And then you go into that mode of just wishful thinking rather than trying to execute to get what you want. But it doesn't work that way with the wishful thinking. Not until you stop pretending that comfort is enough for you. It's okay to want more, and it's okay to feel trying to get more, to get back on your feet, and then try again. That's okay. Like, you don't need to be the loudest person in the room. You just need to stop ghosting the version of you that actually cares, the one that wants more, the one that's tired of performing, the one that's still waiting to be taken seriously by you. If you don't believe, no one else will. And even if you start off by just admitting the truth to yourself, which is the most important part, you can forget about admitting it to other people if you're too afraid for that. Like, but at least sit by yourself and just tell yourself this is what you want for yourself. Even if you're too afraid to say it out loud right now, the more you think about it, the more comfortable you are with the idea. And the more comfortable you will later be with just seeing it and not really caring what other people think. This doesn't need to be the episode that changes your whole perspective on this or your whole life. It could just be the moment you need where you can finally admit that, yeah, I have been holding back. And that's where the actual shift starts. Not when you fake confidence, but when you finally stop pretending that you're okay with less. Just be real. Something that we really lack today. Like, so many people are so fake. Just be fucking real. It pays to be real. It's worthwhile to be real, to be authentic. It draws people in. You want to be proud of your own life, not satisfied, but actually proud of your own life. So you can build something that actually feels like you, not something they told you should want to do. So stop lying to yourself about being okay with less. And that could be the beginning of something beautiful. It just stays on the all love.